Psalm 145 says, "One generation will commend your works to another. They will tell of his mighty acts." He's a preacher's kid from Wichita, Kansas. She's a preacher's kid from Grove, Oklahoma. He was baptized at the tender age of 6. She was baptized at age 10. David Rutherford and Suanne Siemens were both raised in Christian homes by Christian parents, a faithful generation who had modeled personal discipleship and public service to the Lord. And now, for nearly 40 years together, David and Suanne have served the Lord in their generation, making Christ known through the church. Back in the summer of 1982, after graduating from high school, David Rutherford wasn't planning on Ozark. But then he attended a North American Christian convention. That week, David said, "Ken Idleman got a hold of me. He talked to me about coming to Ozark, and he changed my whole plan. Boy, I'm so grateful he did. It was the best decision of my life." Likewise, Suanne Siemens wasn't sure what came next after high school. "My dad told me I needed to attend Ozark for just 1 year," she says. "Needless to say, after the year was over, I didn't want to leave. So I spent 3 years at Ozark, having the time of my life, learning more about the scriptures, and making the best memories and greatest friends." Suanne ended up earning her associate's degree in Christian ministry and says, "I think my dad was pretty smart, getting me to agree to just 1 year." Meanwhile, during his time at Ozark, David played basketball and earned a bachelor's degree in biblical literature. "I have so many great memories," he said, "but the person who believed in me most was Ken Idleman. I will forever be grateful for his support, and to this day, Ken is one of my heroes." While at Ozark, David and Suanne met and were married in 1986. After graduation, they served churches in Tyler, Texas, Yukon, Oklahoma, Union, Missouri, and Downey, California. And then, in 1995, David became the senior minister of Northside Christian Church, now Cross City Christian Church, in Clovis, California. The Rutherfords have served with Cross City for 28 years. Along the way, they raised 2 sons, Drew and Zach, and today their family includes daughters-in-law Aubrey and Rachel, and 3 grandchildren, Mackenzie, Harley Ray, and Judah, with a 4th one on the way. When the Rutherfords began at Northside, now Cross City, the congregation had 400 members. But David faithfully preached God's word and led God's people, and today the Rutherfords serve 4,500 members each week. One of David's theme verses is Ephesians chapter 6, verses 18 through 20. "Pray in the Spirit on all occasions, with all kinds of prayers and requests. Pray also for me, that whenever I speak, words may be given me, so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly, as I should." David says, "I have always craved clarity and courage to present the gospel, and God has provided those things." As David preached, Suanne worked in the dental field, retiring as a dental hygienist. And for the last 5 years, she too has served on staff at Cross City Church in women's ministry. "God is at work in the women's ministry every day," says Suanne. "Before I was on staff, my biggest ministry was full support of David, keeping a safe place for him at home. I've always seen that as my greatest ministry and still do. But little did I know I myself would end up on staff at church, and the knowledge I received at Ozark paved the way for my ministry today." David also credits Ozark for preparing him with biblical knowledge and practical training, but he knows where the greatest credit goes. "God has blessed and grown Cross City," says David. "It's a gospel-believing, God-fearing, mission-serving church where, with God's help, we are making disciples for His glory." Throughout his years of ministry, David has also been known for his great sense of humor and his great love for the Beatles. Combine those two, and you get the Rutherford family Christmas card. It's a tradition spanning years now in which the Rutherfords recreate album covers by the Beatles. Now, creating the cards every year was no small feat. Can you imagine? But David got by with a little help from my friends, and they would all come together to make something that reminded them of yesterday. And yes, those are all Beatles song titles, and yes, I apologize. But if you're watching, David, you're welcome. Over the last 28 years, perhaps the greatest hallmark of the Rutherfords ministry has been raising up kingdom leaders in the next generation. Just in the years I've served here at Ozark, David has sent all the way from California, mind you, Ozark students like Jimmy Corral, Tommy Corral, Marco Rodriguez, Josh Obar, Lito Solorio, Natalie Hill, Drew Rutherford, Charlie Arnold, Emily Williams, Katrina Ashmore, Gage Lucas, Chase Crow, Janelle Crow, Chanel West, Destiny Allwine, Peter Allwine, Keaton Baker, Ben Vipan, Timothy Vipan, and Seth Wigan. That's a lot of workers for the harvest field. One of those Timothys, Lito Solorio, now preaches in Wichita, Kansas, and serves as an Ozark trustee. Lito says, Dave and Suanne have been an integral part of my life since I was 18 years old. Dave has invested countless hours in my life and ministry. After a few years working with him, he sent my wife Tiffany and me to Ozark and challenged our church to scholarship my education. In challenging times, Suanne has encouraged and supported Tiffany, and our ministry would not exist without the love of Dave and Suanne. Hands down, the Rutherfords are one of the reasons that week in and week out, I still want to point people to Jesus. So on behalf of Ozark Christian College, thank you, David and Suanne. Thank you for serving Christ in your generation, and thank you for raising up men and women who will serve Him in the next generation. Well done, good and faithful servants.